Cody Rhodes targets WWE during AEW Dynamite. Plus, a date has been set for Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson. And we have an update on Vince McMahon's Netflix documentary. It's all in the wrestling news right now. Yeah, I know people who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Really?
Yeah. Cody and Andrade last
quote,
night.
by the way.
It's from a dark place. Cody and Andrade had themselves an Atlanta street fight last night, and Cody used it as a little opportunity to have a little bit of a dig at WWE.
Cody Rhodes.
I know, right?
No way.
I know.
Oh my days. What did he do this time?
So,
the little scam. What was he like?
Scallion, Cody Rhodes. So it was during the street fight, he went under the ring, pulled out a kendo stick, and went, I don't want that. He then pulled out a sledgehammer. I don't know whether you know, Sam.
I don't think he's ever kind of,
Sledgehammer's Triple H's weapon.
It is, yeah.
And he's not, he's in the other cup. And then he went under the ring and said, I don't want a sledgehammer, I'm going to use this. And it was a shovel that had been painted gold.
It could have at least been Hornswoggle, come on.
That was maybe the next weapon they would have pulled out. So Cody relishes in pulling out a golden shovel, which is something that many have been accused of using over the roster. John Cena, Triple H, Cody's had it.
Pretty much anybody that's in a position where they're being booked incredibly strongly. Yeah, and
whilst in a position of power.
Yeah, whilst they're in a position with a lot of political sway.
I like the part for me where Cody holds this golden shovel up and screams, "Lean in!" You might as well have just got a screen on baddie. I'm a baddie.
It's kind of time, isn't it? Like Cody, it needs to be kind of solidified now. People have been booing him for quite some time now, and I think we need to just set the ball in motion here. So. Yeah.
Jokes aside, I am happy to admit that I think AEW very much got me with the whole Cody is the greatest guy. I bought Pound xylophone to prove my point. And I think that this has been the plan all along.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to have been got.
He's been slowly becoming more and more unhinged, and when it gets to the point where you have 9 minutes of intro before your music and you get a big special entrance every time, regardless of whether I'd imagine it's a house show or the biggest pay-per-view you've ever seen, that entire stage is going to open up and out walks Cody with 98 people in his entourage, and it's all very Rocky.
Yes, it is incredibly so. I think it started. The wheel started turning on that when he walked out to the ring with like a cape that was so long that it was in a different zip code. Like that. You know what? I'd always choose to be happy rather than right. And I'm happy to admit that I was wrong on the Cody thing. It's going to be the greatest heel turn of a generation. I'm all for it. Brandy returned last night as well for the explosive finish of that match, which sees Brandy, as Cody and Andrade are fighting on the top rope, Brandy covers a table in lighter fluid.
Yes.
Gets some of those little lighters, the little tick ones, the ones you use like a Yankee candle with.
Oh, a kitchen lighter.
Kitchen lighter, that's the ones. And woof, burning table, and Cody reverse superplexes Andrade through the table.
Cody put himself through the table.
Cody put himself
through a burning table.
And there was an arm.
I've not seen much of AEW from last night, but I did see that.
I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah, it's a spectacle and it's a shocking moment, and whenever fire gets bust out, so long as it's few and far between and it's not used all the time and it's used very sparingly, then it's a big moment.
Yes.
It's an exciting thing to be there in person and be like, I was there when he got put through the flaming table. Huge.
It was very much a match that played out like how I play out matches on 2K19 though. It's just like, I'm bored.
Ding, finisher.
Table spot.
Your enemy's just red within 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. If you were watching on Fight, you didn't see a bit of it because there was a technical issue on Fight, which meant everybody just saw a green screen. Not the fun kind of green screen. Not that one. It's not really green screen, we're really in a studio. Actually, we're on the moon, aren't we? There we go, we're on the moon. Back in the studio.
Work for the editors, Tom.
Back in the studio. Back in the moon, back in the studio. This left a large portion of AEW fans looking at a green screen for a bit. Things got back up and running. Everything's fine. Also, I'll tell you who else is fine. Arn Anderson. This isn't in my notes here. So as Cody was making his entrance, Arn fell off the stage.
Ooh, God.
He was fine. He got pulled back up and they carried it off as if it was part of the beatdown. He's fine.
As long as he's all right.
Keeps falling over, Arn does.
It's just...
I'm worried.
It might be a slippy stage. He might not be scoring the bottom of his shoes.
I believe Slippy Stage debuted on NXT this week.
He needs to just get a knife or some sandpaper and just score up the bottom of his loafers.
Arn loafers, make them. Cody also addresses AEW future this week, speaking with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. He said, as of now, my future is with AEW. AEW would be very strange without the core members of the Revolution. We all still talk. We all have this admiration for each other. I can't see myself anywhere else, and I'm very optimistic about what the future holds. The AEW World Championship is out of the question for me, but there are other goals that for now I'll keep close to the chest. I'm looking to move forward towards undiscovered terrain. I want to create what's never happened before, so I'm going to take a different approach than any other wrestler. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. So Cody is... I think it was pretty confident he was going to stay.
Yeah, I don't think that any of that core unit are going to be leaving AEW anytime soon. You know, they sacrificed a lot in order to bring this together as a group, and I think that they're going to try and see it through as a group, as, you know, it should be.
The Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal returns next week.
Yes, it does.
Not quite. I mean, it's just owning a ring, isn't it?
You go through a lot to get to it, but we've not really. It's not really been utilised in such a way that. But it has, and I don't know. It's just sort of. It's a thing, and I think it could be a very great thing at some point, but we're kind of still early days, aren't we? So,
well, MJF's had it a couple of times already. He'll be in the Battle Royal, as will Ricky Starks, Dante Martin, and Powerhouse Hobbs. So far, other names to be confirmed. Then looking ahead to the following week at AEW Dynamite, winter is coming. We're finally getting it. We're going to get Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson.
Nice. And is Danielson going to take the belt straight off him?
No.
Oh, it would be awful. It would be awful, but it will be a big, shocking moment to kind of wrap up the year with, wouldn't it?
Could you imagine? No, they won't. They will.
No, Paige has gone through so much to get there. It's going to be a hell of a match, but I don't see Danielson.
I quite like the idea of Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page putting on a banger, Page winning, and then that's kind of Danielson who goes back on what he said in the promo the other couple of weeks back and says, actually, you know what? I'm glad it was you. This was better than I thought it'd be.
What? Just eliminate his heel turn? What are you doing?
I don't know, but I just feel like he needs to give Page like a
Danielson win. Make this man sad.
No, Page win, and then Daniel, and then there's a segment next week where Bryan Danielson gives you a good rating on TripAdvisor. Like that's what we're hoping for.
As long as it is TripAdvisor and he registers Hangman Page as like a national monument, and he's not allowed to leave a certain place. Thus meaning he has to forfeit his title and Danielson wins a tournament. Oh my God. While Page has got to stand there, you know, near the state corner, just like people keep mobbing him, trying to take pictures, like they're holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Another wrestling national monument is Vince McMahon. We will end on this one. There's a Netflix documentary coming out about Vince.
Yes, there is.
Steph was speaking at the March of Dimes event, and she gave us an update on it. And she says it is scheduled to release next year, 2022. The timing is still to be determined. I'm an equal part excited and really nervous. I don't know what it's going to say, but it's going to capture his life and his story, which so richly deserves to be told. Now, this is a documentary that isn't run by WWE. It's a Netflix.
Is it not? Okay, I was going to say, if WWE have involvement, it'll still be an interesting documentary, but it will gloss over a lot of things. And it will tell things from a very one-sided perspective. Whereas if it's an outside production, then you know we're going to get into a lot more of the gory details, and there might be, you know, a lot of revelations come from it, and it might be something that, you know, maybe isn't something WWE want to be touting and promoting. It depends entirely on what the layup is, but if they haven't started production yet, then
they better crack on.
They better crack on if they're planning for 2022, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be pushed further back. But if Vince is cooperating and appearing in the documentary, I'd say that it's probably going to be a safer story. But at the same time, it's interesting anyway in any situation to be able to be a fly on the wall with Vince, right? Whenever you go back and you watch like Beyond the Mat, and you watch Wrestling with Shadows, and you kind of see Vince in and about his element, just doing things. It's always very fascinating. So if it was WWE produced, you might get that, which is sort of a little bit of a trade-off, I guess.
Well, they did the WWE produced one a few years ago. It was a DVD. There was a McMahon 3-disc DVD that came with a documentary. It was like Vince McMahon, one of the greatest promoters of all time, with a massive pecker.
He's the only man who ever invented wrestling.
he did a headlock that time. So I'd like the idea of it being a third-party production where you can be a little bit more objective. But we will see next year on the Netflix. What would you watch? What are you watching on Netflix at the moment?
Well, I'm watching on Netflix at the minute. Not a lot. I don't really have time, so I'm behind on everything. I've not seen Squid Game yet. I've not, genuinely, I'm so behind. But I tend to just get in and I need just mush.
Just mush to
I just
absorb.
need mush to absorb. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of memes. I try and just watch documentaries, on Netflix. I did discover that The Killing is on, the proper Killing is on BBC iPlayer, so I'm getting back through that because the American version, it ain't poo compared to the original, but yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog movie landed on Netflix.
Oh, did it? Oh, I needed to see that.
I got a notification on my phone to tell me. So there you go. It's a great road trip movie that just happens to star Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, and wrestling news in a bit, yada, yada, yada. Stay safe. Love you, bye.